Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to IRL Season 9, F1 tier round number 7 at China. We've had our 2-week break, and as you saw, the Christmas Classic series on IRL's channel. Hope you guys liked it, but now we are back for the F1 tier. And I'm your commentator, IRL Neon, or Jared Fosby, joined by my favourite co-commentator, Aspect, or Kevin Harrison.
Well, thanks for the introduction there. And of course, it being China, it is also wet for quali, so the times will be a little slower, a little more likely that people will be making mistakes. If it's rain for the race as well, then we could see quite an interesting race with overtakes really most likely into the hairpin, as was the case really in FP. It is possible also to get the move back on into turn 1. There is just about enough time, so we could see some bold moves going into turn 1, so it should see some good overtaking, good racing today.
Yeah, we should indeed. And as you saw FP last week on Wednesday, actually it wasn't last week, it was this week on Wednesday, there was also a bit of rain in the race, so rain is a high chance in China, as Kevin has said, but quali is wet, and let's see what these drivers can do. He's on board with the AlphaTauri of Kieran, I believe is Ahmed D underscore. It's been a while since I've said
Kieran
the names.
McDonald, yeah.
So Kieran then in 11th is on a lap, and if you think Alpha Azit is a new driver, he isn't. I believe. Oh, I forgot his name. Brand told me a minute ago. He's who's not here? Who's not a driver who we usually know on BRT? BRT Tigers here. Alpha Giulio and Faz. I'll have to
Matthews here.
I think that is Matthews. Yeah. Hang on. I had it in my head and it's just literally popped out.
BRT Julio. That should be Alpha Julio.
Alpha Julio is here. Yeah.
Faz also obviously.
Yeah. I'll just have a look now. He's in Red Bull. Matthews Olivia.
Well, yeah, it looks the same.
Matthews Olivia.
They must have had a rebrand, or maybe they all joined the same
Yeah,
time.
they've all changed their names. It's Matthews Olivia then in the Alpha Azzi. So Matthews then, who was a runner-up for the championship in F2, but he got the constructors. Let's see what he can do then today in the Red Bull. As Kieran then is about to begin his flying lap as he's coming now around the final corner. And here he goes then to start the flying lap, no invalidations or anything. And here we go then, as he comes down the first straight then. Hitting the curb a little bit, going to turn 1, using the gears to use as a braking point as to slow the cars down. As we have yellows and 60, that's just a lot of people there in the hairpin getting ready for their laps. As Kieran there, nice and tight through turn 1 and 2 and 3. All rear end kicking out a little bit, keeps it under control. As now he's running to the first hairpin. Obviously it'll be purple in sector 1, a bit of a lock up there on the right front tyre. It is easier to lock up in the interconditions. Now for the first left-hander, the fast left-hander. Goes in 7th there. I would have gone in 6th to max out the gear, but his choice of gearing. Now through the fast right into the double left, which is very easy to unwide or lose control of the car. As you can see there, rear end kicks out a little bit, keeps it under control, and his sector 2 time is a 58.5. Don't know if that's good enough to hold pole position, but we'll see the big guns very soon starting setting decent lap times, especially Cameron since he has made his return. As now we go down the big long straight, and I believe this is one of the biggest straights on the actual full calendar, except Hanoi I think is the biggest now. However, he's now would have had DRS at this point. Coming into the hairpin then. He goes into second gear. Now Kevin, would you go second gear into that hairpin? Or would you go first and then short shift to third to get more traction?
I usually go first, personally.
Ooh,
but maybe the rain could have a difference on it.
Probably, but he sets a 42.7 there. So that is currently first at the moment. Logan does a 43 flat. The next fast driver can get on board with him. Oh, just missed him. Is Spreen with a 43. Yeah, tweet out. And Rocco's actually just behind Matthew, as Matthew's about to finish his flying lap as well. Here comes Rocco. And these two have been very good and consistent. Matthew then takes pole position with a 42.6, only attempt quicker. But hang on, where's that BRT or Alpha Fast come from? Where's Pedro come from? He's done a 42.5. Good lap there, and that's dropped Rocco into 4th place, who's done a 42.9. And Brandon Glover there in 7th place with 43.3. He's currently in 7th. He is good in the interconditions, as we did see in the FP tier. Lewis Curtis, of course, has invalidated his lap, and we'll be annoyed with that, as we're going board with Patrick then, currently in 10th place right now, with no lap time set in the McLaren. He's currently in Sector 2, about going the double left-hander to Sector 3, as we have more yellows in Sector 1. Turn 3 actually, and sorry, Patrick there made a mistake, and almost lost the car, as you can see a car ahead of him, and that is the Haas, and he's done a 58.6. I think that is a little bit better than Kieran's lap, who's currently in 3rd. Let's see what Patrick does. See if he can keep it under control through this right-handed banking. Gets an okay exit, no rear end kicking out or spinning, but he didn't apply that much power. And down the straight he goes then. Into the hairpin. Also uses second gear there, which is interesting as Logan's in the pit lane. Oh, another twitch down the McLaren. Let's see what time he does though. And he does a 43 flat there. Another driver to do a 43 flat. That's 2 drivers now. Patrick there, a couple hundredths there off Logan. And we'll be in 8th place for now. It's Matthew Wallace, that's the new fastest lap. Where did that come from? 41.966. Good lap indeed. Who, however, will decide to win this race there? Will it be Matthew or will it be Rocco? As Rocco has now and then been quite close to Matthew. And Rocco is in 7th at the moment with the 42.9, so he's currently a 2nd off the pace. And right now he is being a Valtteri Bottas out of the 2. Let's see if Rocco can step up a gear and see if he can close up that time.
Yeah, he seems to be a bit of a Bottas, kind of usually behind his teammate, of course. He is 2nd in the championship, so he is doing what he has to. Racing Point overall 1st in the championship, as you would expect, occupying the first 2 spots, but Rocco hasn't really been able to take the fight to his teammate though. In Russia they had a pretty good run. I think they were kind of screwed over by a safety car there, but they, in the past, they have ran 1-2 before, always Matthew in front unfortunately, for Rocco at least.
Oh yeah, that is for Rocco. And Rocco, the only chance Rocco's actually had a chance to actually win a race over Matthew was Baku, but unfortunately the 2 drivers who had penalties got their penalties removed, since it was the safety car, I believe, them 2 hitting, get a 5-second, they had them removed.
Oh yeah,
changed
that
positions.
was it. Yeah, it was Baku, then Russia I think they actually had the 1-2 then.
Yeah, I think it was Russia, yeah, 1-2.
Okay, so I mixed up the 2.
But right now, as I said, Matthew a 2nd quicker than Rocco, and Rocco now is in 10th place. So he's going to have to watch out, and there's one board with Cameron there, who's gone into 5th place actually with a 42.6. He almost lost the car. So him returning with 42.6 could be strong pace for him, or he could go a lot quicker.
You said Rocco was 10th, he's now bumped his way up into 4th with a 42.4.
So he's a lot closer now.
About 5 tenths off his teammate.
The leader gap
Just
to him
under
is 4.5 tenths then. So he's actually not that far then, so that's a good lap from him. He can easily improve. And here are the intervals currently for the fastest 16, as per usual. Lewis Curtis struggling in the conditions, and bottling with no lap time at the moment. But the slowest driver at the moment is Spreen, who's 1.4 seconds off Matthew. Scratch that, make that 1.5 seconds off Matthew, because the Red Bull of driver of Thomas is just improved there. He's done a 41.914, a couple hundredths there quicker than Matthew, and what a lap there from Thomas. Has he got the pace actually to challenge Matthew on the first round back for the F1 tier after the 2-week break?
Well, I can say that he has shown very good pace. He seems to usually find himself in the Williams in FP, and he sets quite good laps. He can be close to Matthew on his day in a worse car, so equal cars maybe he could be.
And that is Tiger there, which I will get the name for right now. He has just gone off the track out of turn 4, I believe, which is Nicholas. That's Nicholas there then. Nicholas in 8th place, lost it. Oh, and he's hit the brake marker board, and that could affect some of the drivers who use no line. Oh, hopefully that doesn't, because They do use, some drivers do use that as a braking point. Now I don't know if they can report that or anything, because it will be a bit petty if they did. They can adjust, hopefully, and adapt, but could cost them a bit of time. However, though, now Cameron now dropped to 9th place there. He needs to find a bit more time. Is Matthew actually on a lap? No, he isn't. He's actually coming in the pits, I believe, this time.
It says outlap.
I thought he was out on track.
Because he did 2 consecutive runs on one set of entries, and then
I think it was Rocco I got mixed up.
So I think this is an outlap.
Yeah, Matthew's out on outlap. I thought he was out a lap earlier on and went in the pits, and Rocco came out. My apologies, I mixed up. So then we'll stay on board with the 3-time champion, if I've got that right. Yeah. Oh? The amount of times he's won, he's got me confused. It is 3, isn't it? 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it is
3. Yeah.
It is 3.
Because we had the long season in 2018 and the short season. He won both of those, and then. On 2019, not 18.
Yeah.
So he won the 2 on 2019, and then he won last season in 2020. So yeah, it's 3.
We will go on board with the 3-time champion. Matthew Orden currently in 2nd. If you want to come sit over his lap, Kevin, as he's just entering turn 1.
Indeed he is. Turn 1 very tricky, especially if you run no ABS, as Matthew indeed runs no assists at all, so it is going to be a little tricky for him. Through turn 2 now, you got to get a nice exit, make sure that you don't lose the car on the exit of turn 2. It is quite a tricky corner. Now coming up to the first of 2 hairpins on the track, a little bit of a lock up there, and he goes a bit deep. It's going to help out his exit, but it's not going to help out through the corner. Going through now the long S section, the left right, nice and flowing. We'll see how he does now. A small double left, approaching the back straight, now approaching turn 11. It's this one still has its marker boards. I'm not actually sure which one lost it, but yeah, now the very tricky corner of turn 13 onto the back straight. It's very tricky on the exit. It's very hard to get the power down, but if you can gain a lot of time. It looks like he had it quite well, considering especially the rain. Approaching now the 2nd hairpin of turn 14. He's going to have heavy braking. He's going to lock up again a little bit, but this time it doesn't hinder him as much as last time. Now approaching the final corner, turn 16. He's going to need a good exit to try and extend his advantage at the top, as there's actually now for Romeo there that spun around, but it's not going to affect him. He's not going to be able to improve, as it seems 2 people have set their times very recently there in Logan Arend and Thomas Trophies. Or actually, no, he wasn't. Or was he?
Yeah.
But Logan certainly was a fresh time. He just had a.
Yeah, that is definitely a fresh time off Logan. He was like 8th. And he's gone up to 1st place. Now, where's this pace come from, Kevin? I've got to say, he wasn't really anywhere except at Baku. He had a good result, but then after that he was struggling with pace, and now he's in 1st place at the moment in our quali session at China. What's going on?
Who knows? Maybe he stepped it up a gear. Of course, he's just in the lead. There's only 6 thousandths there between the top 2. If he's going to be able to hold on to it, I guess we'll see, but I'm sure people will be able to get in another lap by the end if they're coming in soon. The rain will, of course, mean you'll have to exit the pit lane just a little bit earlier, but yeah, really, really good showing from Logan Arend today.
That is a good showing from him. At the moment, on board with Rocco, who's 2,000th up right now. Sorry, 200th up on his time right now, I must say. And he's gaining on Cameron a little bit. I don't know if he's also on a lap. But right now, Rocco's really just not full throttle yet, just a bit hesitant on the throttle and the banking, and I won't be surprised. The way it looks on track is very slippery right now, and could easily spin him out.
I can't say Cameron's not on a lap anyway. He's invalidated, so.
Ah, right, and he's actually on 4 laps all in, so if he wants to get another fresh set of inters on, he's going to have to pit soon. And there's a Haas there off the track, I believe that is Logan, who's just let through Rocco there, rear end kicking out a bit. Matthew Order into the pit lane. Will Rocco pit? No, he doesn't, he stays out, he don't want to lose time. Hits the curve to get a nice nose cam there. Coming to the line, and it's going to be a 42.3 there. Goes 6th place, improvement by a 10th, almost. And he will be happy with 7th at the moment, but he knows he can improve a lot more and get closer to his teammate.
Yeah, his teammate right now, of course, maybe not in the territory that he'd be expecting himself in. He did actually say, I remember, in the interviews, of course this was last year, only 2 weeks ago, but he was saying that he wasn't sure if he would be able to take the win today. He was saying that it was a bit more of a pad track. Of course, getting beaten by two pad drivers at the moment in Thomas Troppies and Logan Aaron, so maybe that's helping them a little bit, but yeah, you would be expecting just a little more. Of course, the gap's very small. I'm sure he'll be able to take just a little bit of time back.
Yeah, that is true. And also with Nino actually not being here, which I didn't even realise, he's usually good at China and he is on pads, so Nino would be up there as well. But unfortunately he can't make it today. But as you said, it could be a pad advantage, excuse me. But I don't know. It might be just as he did say in FP he wasn't really comfortable in the tyres. Now I don't know if that was because of the FP cars, but
yeah, and I have to say, Jared Thomas Trophies is up by over 2/10 at least. He just improved by 2/10 in the second sector.
Oh, what's his name? I forgot his name already, and I had his name a second ago. Alpha AZT has just moved to second place. He was first, but Kieran has just improved. Now I don't know if the track is improving. Because we're going board with Thomas then, as you said, he's run at 2.5 tenths up on his lap. Let's have a look.
This should have him on for pole position as well. Around the final corner up to the line.
In second place, I just ahead of Matthews by a tenth. Good lap there. Really close in first place. He's got 1:40 to do one more lap, and he's got enough ERS, I think. Both Red Bulls are going for it. So is Kieran. Isn't Kieran's gone off his lap. Now Matthew is on an out lap. Same with Logan, who is actually on a flyer right now. Lewis Curtis is on a flyer in turn 3. Kevin, if you want to go on board with his lap, as Faz moves into third place with a 41.7.
Yeah, as you said, Lewis Curtis on a lap, coming through what is turn 5, that little kink, into the hairpin of turn 6. I didn't actually catch how much he was up there unless you saw in the top right.
No, I didn't catch it.
Not sure if it was a plus or a minus, but regardless, he seems to be pushing on, going through the twisty section of turns 7 and 8, the S section, on this track of Sector 2. It's a very nice and flowing section, really satisfying to get right. Through the double left-hander of 9 and 10 now. We'll see how much he's up on his time. There's a little bit of a tank slapper there, as he's just off his time there. So maybe he was actually just off his time in the first sector as well. So he'll need a strong final sector if he wants to be improving. Right now, of course, he's in 13th. And it looks like this is going to be his final lap time as well, as again, he loses the back end. So I'm sure he's not going to be improving by too much if he does improve. Approaching the hairpin of turn 14, there might be a little bit of traffic, but it doesn't look like it's going to offend him, as I think someone maybe left the session or retired or something.
Retired, it
that
was,
might have been Centauri.
Yeah, 10th place driver. Logan
but yeah, again, you can see how much he's losing the back end. I can't imagine that he's going to be improving by much. If he does improve across the line, he's going to only improve a little bit for just about getting him 12th by 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, that is true, and him actually struggling there could be telling us that he's on a dry setup. I know he's got new pedals. Now, I don't know if that could be the issue, since he had the mechanical issue, which I believe last week was USA. Well, last time we raced.
Yeah. Brandon Glover is now coming across the line. He
does
like
first,
the rain.
3. Where does that lap time come from? Thomas has called it a day as well, so that's his qualifying system. Same place where all 3 drivers are retired. And you did say Brand's on that, right? He's just finished it.
Yeah, he just finished. No improvement.
Well, on board
which is a bit surprising,
champ,
given he
Matthew's
does
purple.
go well in the rain usually.
Yeah, especially, no, he showed this in China a little bit. He had the pace. Unfortunately, he little bottled and kind of took out Sondre. But right now on board with Matthew, who's done a 41.9, which was the fastest at one point. Not at the moment. He needs to do a 41.3 to beat Pedro right now, who's beaten Matthew before in the wet, I must add. So is Matthew already starting to feel the effects on these inters?
Yeah, Germany comes to mind there.
It does indeed, as right now then, he's just moved to 7th. Someone's just improved. I think that was Cameron Young, who's moved to 5th place. Matthew Orden is improving, but not enough. Only goes 4th place, 41.756.
And Kieran McDonald, it looks like he's going to be trying to improve on his lap now.
Rocco's just finishing
Not enough
his.
for a first though.
Rocco, 8th place, 41.9. Finally breaks in the 41.9s. Missed opportunity there to try and beat his teammate, but he's in 8th place. As Gio then rounds up the grid on his invalid lap time. And here is your grid for the qualifying race. Could be dry, could be wet. Maybe that's why Lewis was struggling with the rear end a little bit. Or that might be just his new pedals. However then, here is the official qualifying order. Alpha then, or Pedro, is in first place, with Kieran second, Thomas in third, Matthew fourth, Matthews in fifth, Cameron sixth, Logan in seventh, Rocco in eighth, Julio ninth, Nicholas in 10th, Patrick 11th. I can't remember the Finnish driver, Santa Martin in 12th.
Santeri Martikainen.
Right, that's the driver then in 12th place. Spreen in 13th, Brandon 14th, Lewis Curtis 15th, Mr. Ollie Flavel at the back of the grid in 16th in the Ferrari with a 43.110, and he's 1.7 seconds off the pace. And he's quite actually far back off Lewis Curtis as well. So, these two really struggling in China then, as they were telling me earlier that they were struggling on pace. So that's going to be an issue for them.
Big thing now is the race going to be dry or wet?
And it looks dry. Clear skies, no threats of rain, but it is China. There could be a threat of rain later on in the race as people now starting to pick their setups. And everyone gets a free choice of tyres, so it's going to be interesting what people choose. Are they going to choose hards? Or are they going to choose mediums? Because they're not going to choose softs, because the softs will only last for about 45 laps, and then they're going to have to take hards all the way to the end. And it's slower.
I don't think we'll see anyone really on the softs. Everyone, of course, has a free choice of tyre.
They did an FP,
they qualified on inches, so.
Obviously, but that was because of rain coming quickly. Unless we're going to have the same scenario, but as I said, I doubt rain's coming.
It would really shake it up, though, if we got a similar ending to what FP had.
It would be.
Some people pitting, some people not.
It was a very good ending, and it's got 11 people now fighting for one Drivers' Championship. Wish it was the same for F1, but it isn't, because we've got one legendary driver driving in this tier. And that's literally sweeping the floor at the moment, but could all change with a flick of the eye. Rocco could easily win it and win 2 championships. But right now, we are at China, and everyone is on what kind of tyre? No one is on soft, which is awesome choice. Pedro has gone on hard then in first place. Kieran is second on mediums, then Thomas and Matthew Older also on hard tyres. Now they need to pray that they don't get damaged into turn 1. Then Matthews is on mediums, could be easy prey, and it's good that the Red Bull are on a different strategy for each trailer. Cameron is 6th on hard tyres, good choice of tyre. With Logan is 7th on mediums, he's going to have to watch out for possible dive bombs. With Rocco in 8th. Both racing points here, Kevin, on the same compound of tyre on hards. Then we have Julio and Nicholas both on mediums, with Patrick also mediums and McLaren's on the same strategy. It may cost them if they have to double stack it as a safety car. Santa Martin in 12th on mediums as well, and then we have Spreen, Brandon, Utkus and Ollie Favell on hard tyres. Now, do you think the guys who didn't make it in the top 10 was a good idea to 4 people start on hards and then 2 people start on mediums, or do you think they should have all gone on hards and didn't do the long game, or do you think the way they've done it could help them out?
Well, a big part of it depends on who your teammate is. If you want to split the strategy and see what works and what doesn't, which is what the Red Bulls are doing right now, a hard and medium each. Okay, well, no, that's not quite. Well, yeah, as I said anyway, some teams might split the strategies on purpose to not hinder their teammate. If they're not in the party, then I think the hards is probably going to end up being the better option. If you're right up the front and there's a medium runner, they might be quicker at the start, but when there's lower fuel at the end, it's just going to be an advantage to be on the mediums, and I think that's where it's going to end, which really leaves it up to Pedro, Thomas and Matthew to fight for this win. It just, if Kieran gets an amazing start and pulls away, then maybe things could be different, but breaking the tour around here can be difficult.
Well, that is true then. Well then, as we get ready then for Pedro to start the light sequence, with Kieran alongside him, looking hungry and looking straight at turn number 1, as the light sequence will begin very shortly. As we now got the lights beginning, now we're at 4, now 5 red lights, everyone's revving their engines, everyone's ready to go from the 2-week break, and lights are out, and it looks like both drivers have had a great start. No wheel spin that we can see. And Kieran, amazing start, already into first place into turn 1. Matthews there is already around Matthew Older, and Matthew's got to watch out for the inside. Cameron Young's still there. They're going 3 wide there into turn 3, and Matthew did not really give Cameron that much room, squeezed him off a little bit. Maybe wasn't actually expecting him, but he did have a car on his outside as well. And,
and at
Cameron.
the back, Ollie Flavel, it looks like he's been involved in an incident. He's already got damage, and he's off the track, losing the back end out of turn 2.
Oh no. Mr. Flavel is around then, already at the start of this race, and struggling again at China. However, we're going to have to go on Cameron Young because he's getting hounded by Rocco Walsh, who's currently trying to get 7th place.
Yeah, Cameron Young tried to go down the inside. I did see a little bit of that. Trying to go down the inside of Matthew Older, but there into turn 2 on the inside, you have to be very alongside from the beginning, really, to be able to be making
overtakes. Oh, Spreen's round. Spreen is round in the house. Brandon's making a move on Lewis Curtis, I believe, or yeah, it was Lewis Curtis, and Spreen just lost it. Same way some other drivers have lost it before, just going to ego on the throttle. And sorry to cut you off there, but there's actually another battle further ahead. But you were right in what you were saying. But yeah, we're back.
Look, you were saying Spreen, Brandon Lewis, it might have been an incident between them two. They've actually fell back from the grid now, and they are fighting as well, so it's not going to help them. They might want to kind of calm it down to try and close back up, because if they keep losing time, they're going to be out of sync with everyone else.
Yeah, that's true, and obviously we have the track glitch again, where it says everyone's in different positions when they're clearly not. But right now, we're on board with Brandon there, who's trying to catch back up with Lewis. He did get past him, and Ollie has got a 5-second penalty for speed in the pits, and he's given up. Again, I'm not going to say anything, because, yeah, everyone knows my opinion of people who just give up like that. So, yeah, Brandon then, trying to gauge on Lewis. Yeah, I'm going to laugh. If there's a safe call in this race because someone's either crashed, he's going to be kicking himself. As usual, we all mourn. So let's forget about Ollie for now then, as he's called a day on his race. But we're going to keep an eye on Logan Knight now, because actually he's trying to catch up with Matthews on the medium tyre. Matthews is also on mediums as well, and Matthews got the position back off Matthews, which we missed out on because of the fighting and because of the leaderboard glitch. But
and someone who is going at it, Julio's trying to get past Santeri right now. Looks like they're very equal in the straight, and actually it looks like Pedro might have a DRS failure. He has the option to use DRS, but he hasn't activated
DRS
his
is
flap.
not enabled yet. It's done that glitch where it says it's enabled when it ends. It's only lap 2.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
It always, I don't know why they haven't fixed this. They've had plenty of time. As Kieran then sets a fast lap, 33.949 on the second lap. And we did catch that three-way fight.
And then when they cross the line, they'll stay on lap 3, I guess.
Now DRS is enabled, so could see another three-way fight going ahead. But Kieran, if it lets me select him, is in the lead right now, currently 9/10 of a second. But when will these medium tyres start to fail? If they're on the softs, they'll be starting to fail around about now. So I'm guessing the mediums are probably going to fall off on about lap 8 to lap 11. It depends how you are with your tyres. But right now, Kieran's doing a good job in first place, and Matthew is surprising me. He's only 4th right now.
Yeah, that's another thing about this track. It's quite difficult to close up. You really need a strong sector 1 and 2 to stick with someone, and then you can stay with them for sector 3 to try and make an overtake into the hairpin, which on the flip side makes overtaking possible into turn 1. But if you can't keep close in the first 2 sectors, it's really just kind of ends up a TRS train, which is what's happening right now.
That is what's happening right now, and he's probably going to have to use the tyre strategy option to try and win this race if he can pull something out of the bag. But he's beaten his teammate, which is his rival in the championship, which is Rocco Walsh, who's currently 2nd. And I've got to give Rocco the credit, you know. He's tried to challenge Matthew a lot more, and, you know, only last season he was brought up to the F1 tier after F1 and F2 had to merge, unfortunately, because of the turnout. And Rocco literally stepped up first race, and he was fighting for first place with Nino as well. Unfortunately, Nino isn't here. But could see a challenging pairing possible next year of Rocco and Nino, which I've heard rumours about possible teammates. Could happen. They are doing well in FP right now, currently leading the constructors and the drivers, but the pair of them. But right now, Rocco's more focused on trying to score most points he can, but he's losing a bit of time from Cameron at the moment, which I've noticed. And Cameron is now also in a train with Logan.
Yeah, as I said before, it just kind of seems to be how it's going to be working out. If you can stay close, which some people just might do. We did see some attempted overtakes, at least into the hairpin. If they can keep it close, Thomas is actually quite close to Pedro right now. We should probably keep an eye on that. If you can stay close going through the next few corners, maybe you'll be able to make a move into the hairpin, which also Pedro doesn't have DRS on.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's got 1.6.
He's pulling away.
1.6, so he's pulled something out of the bag there. So good lad from Kieran, picking up the pace when he's needed to. And as you said, Thomas is in striking range.
Yeah, he's a lot faster. I don't think he's going to be able to go down the inside. He may have been able to go for a dive, but he's going to be sensible and stick behind. Matthew Walder also closing up. Well, everyone really closing up because of this train that Pedro was causing. When one person loses DRS, it's just kind of someone closes up, and then a few overtakes might actually start happening now. So maybe Matthew will be able to come back as Kieran. Really, he must be having the time of his life out in front. He's almost 2 seconds ahead now.
Brian Lewis yet again switching place. Unfortunately, we missed a bit of the action, but we'll keep an eye out on them too. But right now, as you said, Thomas and Alpha, or Pedro, closest.
Yeah, and on an ERS perspective as well, Thomas is so much more ERS.
Yeah, that's the advantage there, just staying behind the train, which I kind of hate, which has been like the past couple of games with the ERS, and Fuel, you can just basically stay behind someone, save it. It shouldn't be like that in my opinion. I think it should be basically same whether if you're going to make an overtake or not, where you don't really save much ERS, just staying behind someone. Fuel I'd understand, but ERS management, I don't think it should work like that. Maybe we might have it different on the next game, but right now Thomas is using it at full effect, and it's kind of working, but he's got a lot of drives behind, which could be under threat for me. He's got a 3-time champion right on his tail, so Thomas needs to start making moves ASAP and pull a second gap instantly as soon as he gets past Pedro. Could he make the move this time?
He is going to be trying to get past Pedro. Now Pedro's going to go to the middle to try and
defend. ERS. Thomas there around the outside. I see Logan looking on the inside of the Red Bull. Oh, looked like Thomas was going to turn into him there. They're going side by side into the hairpin. Pedro tries to take the shorter line. Thomas is still on the inside. He cuts back in front of him there, and he gets the position in the second place. Will Pedro answer back though? Nah, it looks like these guys only got 20% ERS. He can't afford to use it. Matthew is now on his tail, right behind him.
And
so
while you were saying that as well, Lewis Curtis made a pretty easy DRS move on Brandon Glover there to take back 12, so they're kind of swapping places a lot. And what I did say at the start is kind of happening, 6 seconds off the pack.
Well, they are. They're just costing each other too much time, and it's helping Spreen catch back up. He's now 2.1 seconds. But they, as I said, they could be playing the long game, so something could happen spectacular. It could be 3 cars upside down, a car up in the air, anything, a crash, safety car, rain at one point, and so there's clouds picking up, but they're not dark clouds yet. There is a bit of dark cloud now and then, but I don't know if there is rain, possibly. But right now then, one more than Matthew, who's literally all over Pedro. Look at that, Thomas almost already out of DRS range, and he's slowly catching up with Kieran. 1.8 seconds.
With the ERS, not DRS, I should say. I think a part of it is a skill at the same time of saving it, and I think Thomas is one of the ones who tends to do it quite well, because you can see even when he's got to the front of the train, he has the most ERS out of anyone really behind him. A lot of people under 50%, he's got around 70, so he's really doing himself favours to save it how he's doing, and it's helping him get away from the pack.
Well, that's true there, as we just saw Matthew there make a move on the inside into the hairpin, as you were saying, and Pedro tried the switch, but it couldn't work because Karen picked up a 3-second time penalty. He's the first one to pick up a penalty in this race, who's still remaining, of course. Ollie did get one, but then he quit as he gives up. But Pedro there dropping down the field, so maybe that interpace was the best he had, because right now he's got nothing to answer. He's not saving his ERS, and as he said, it's a skill. But do remember, it is a skill to save ERS as much as he can, as he's doing now. but also being behind someone can help you as well. And Matthew now starting to close up. Now I pray, now I am not jinxing it or anything, I pray that Matthew doesn't disconnect, because he was in second place in FP, I was third, and then he lagged out.
I do have to mention those clouds are actually getting darker.
It is.
They're like visually a lot darker.
Yeah, they're a lot darker.
The last
You're
few
right.
laps.
Last lap, it was a lot whiter near the stadium. So, is there possibility of rain inbound, which could affect? Maybe that's why everybody is on medium tyres. Most of the people. Could be interesting to see where it plays out. But right now, on board of Kieran, he's got a 1.8 second gap. The gap's not stabilised a little bit. He's using a bit of his ERS. Thomas has got 70%. He could easily use his ERS to pull away from Matthew now to try and build a bigger gap. And
I just saw Matthew use a little bit of ERS to stay in the DRS of Thomas. He's very close to losing it. Thomas really pulling away right now, and he's not even using his ERS. He doesn't really have to, as everyone behind will use ERS, and then when they use too much they have to save, which means they'll never really be able to make an overtake on Thomas. So he can just keep going as he is. There's a bit of rain, I think, Jared. I think
no.
I saw a spit there.
Maybe a spit, but it ain't on the cars yet. I don't. Oh, hang on. No, there ain't any spit yet on the cars. I think you might have just seen a little sprinkle, but no rain yet, unfortunately. I hope it does rain, of course, because it could spice it up quite easily. But right now, I would also like the rain just to hold on a little bit, so these guys on the medium tyres can hold them a bit longer. Try and hold them up after pit, then it enters, then they have to pit again, and then we could see a different winner, a different podium. But right now, Kieran is doing a magnificent job. Gap now 1.9 seconds to Thomas. Matthew is now starting to pick up the pace. He holds it in 6th gear there through the left and right, and catching up with Thomas right now. But you are right, clouds are getting darker and darker. Like, seriously, 2 laps ago it was still sunshine, but now it is completely cloudy, and it looks like it could rain any minute.
Yeah, and I'm sure the drivers will be asking about weather reports constantly. I mean, if they know that rain's coming, of course they'll know, we won't, until we see it. So maybe it's just a case that there is no rain, it is just getting a bit dark, but the clouds, if the clouds are anything to go by, it's not getting warmer, we'll say that much.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. They can now and then go cloudy and not rain at all, but sometimes we've seen it just go cloudy and quali, and it's then started raining when there's no rain. So rain isn't a guarantee, but Alpha's in. Matthew's in then. See what tyre he goes on. Will he go softs? Will he go mediums again, or will he go hards? Now this could tell us what conditions. And he's going hard, so maybe it's just going to stay cloudy. But we could be wrong. He could be wrong. He may have to just follow his strategy, see if everybody else does it, and then the rain picks up.
Yeah, he might be trying to bait people into pitting, trying to force someone's hand, but if they stick to this and rain does come, then maybe might be in a bad position. Then there's also the tyre issue. If his tyres are a lot better, he'll be able to take them longer, but... Oh
no, spraying again! Same corner, and he's lost it again now. He's lost a bit of his front wing, and he gives Matthews the place back, and that's unfortunate there for Spreen. He now drops to 14th place, probably 15th when he pits for a new nose cone. But yeah, unfortunately for him. Now actually, I've just picked up on something here, Kevin. 1.4 seconds now, Thomas is to Kieran. So Kieran may have now started struggling with his tyres, and Thomas is picking up the pace now, 8/10 to Matthew.
Yeah, it seems to have kind of stagnated around like 7 to 9/10. He hasn't been able to break the DRS of Matthew. He's kind of just pulling Matthew along here to catch back up to Kieran, and Kieran won't be liking the fact that Thomas really is bringing an entire train with him, because he's on the mediums. This train, the 3 behind him are all on hards, so he needs to be away from them once he pits so he can stay in front a little bit longer, and then when they pit for their mediums he'll be able to hold them off just a little bit easier.
Could be more yellow flags there. That's Patrick. Patrick's gone off, and it isn't raining now. Could this be where the tyres are too cold and the track's getting too cold for them, and it should rain soon or something? Because right now that's 2 drivers gone off, and now Kieran's struggling a little bit now. 1.3 seconds now. That little mistake cost him a 10th at least, as Cameron moves up to 9th place. Nicholas there drops to 10th now. But right now, as I'm saying, Thomas is really picking up the pace now. 1.1 seconds.
Yeah, look, you can kind of tell those mediums are going off a bit. Might be a bit more obvious than why Matthews' pit is actually now Spreen. Spreen comes in for the wing change, of course, but Patrick, oh, he's retired as well.
He's give up. So simple answer, basically. If he doesn't feel like he can race to the end, or he just feels like he may be a danger, then that's understandable for him. He was quite off the pack, to be honest, but it's a shame. Thomas, though, again getting caught by Matthew in the straight. So Thomas has Matthew in sector 1 and 2, but sector 3 Matthew just
in
comes
goes
back.
Kieran.
Kieran's in.
Logan Auerland also on the mediums. He's stayed out for an extra lap. A few people actually staying out. Santeri, of course, he can't pit with his teammate, so he's going to have to go at least another lap. We'll see how long he takes these now. As Julio and Nicholas also in. And Lewis.
No, Lewis hasn't.
Wait, he's crashed actually.
He hasn't crashed in the pit lane.
No, I think he crashed on the exit of the final corner because
we're not going to see it.
He was on track there.
Cody's won't let us spectate retired cars anymore like they used to in 2017. Oh, that annoys me. We're all looking at Spreen right now.
I mean, I guess we'll be able to know from Bran later on.
Oh yeah, I'm not. But,
you would have seen it.
I want to see on Spreen's PLV. Let's have a look if there's any damage. On the right side of the track.
No,
don't look like there's been damage. I think it might have gone in the pit lane and he's retired it in the pits close to that area. It looks very close and there isn't any wing fragments or anything. But I could be wrong. He could have crashed it and they've just cleaned it up. But on board of Thomas now. Matthew 7.5 tenths behind. He isn't closing that much. Okay, scratch that. He's now 4 tenths right in the braking zone, so he just closed back in the braking zone.
It'll be interesting now. Logan Auerland should be pitting. No, he's going to stay out. Santeri is also going to stay out, despite his teammate pitting the previous lap. So they're trying to take their mediums a bit longer, I guess, till the end of 13, I would assume.
Maybe. I don't understand why they're risking it. Unless there is rain.
Yeah,
but
if Logan,
right now,
if Logan and Santeri pit now, they could get a bit of an undercut on the top guys. I mean, like, old hards, they're not exactly going to be fast. So an undercut would do wonders if they were to use it, but they're not using it yet.
We'll just have to wait and see. As we said, rain could be a possibility, but right now on the left side of the track, rain doesn't look like it's going to happen because it's now starting to dry up. Not dry up, it's starting to brighten up on the left side of the track a little bit. It's not as dark as it was, so maybe it was just cloud cover we had. And maybe rain isn't due at all, but right now Thomas is currently in the lead, isn't net leader, because the net leader is in 9th place with clean air.
Spreen gets fastest out there.
Oh yes, Spreen does get fast.
A bit of pride.
Oh well, there's a call off. There is Logan into the wall, and that is his car. Goodbye. That is Logan then out of the race, out of the banking, and that is a VSC. Now, this is interesting for the medium runners. Will they decide to pit?
This is perfect for Santeri. He's the final medium runner to pit.
Oh yeah, because Logan was. So Logan could have had a punch on the rear end, and then maybe that's why he lost it.
Santeri's teammate, of course, Kieran McDonald, has already pit, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out compared to his teammate who pit from the lead.
This could be interesting. And Pedro's also in the pit lane. So Pedro has decided to pit. He was on 11 lap old hards. Now this is interesting what he goes on. Is he going on a medium tyre strategy?
Yep.
This is interesting.
On the mediums. And he gets held up by the AlphaTauri there.
Well, we'll look at the AlphaTauri who's leaving the pit lane now. Mercedes crew are into the pits for Brandon Glover, also going on the medium set of tyres possibly.
There's Kieran McDonald. Kieran McDonald's going to go by, but you can see how much time he's gaining there. Look at
plenty.
where Santeri is compared to his teammate. His teammate, remember, pitted from the lead and had an undercut.
Oh, Pedro's got a drive through. A lot of people just got a drive through as this went haywire, my MFD. But let's have a look. Penalties. Oh no, the race leader Well, the race current leader, Kieran, Pedro and Santi Martin have drive-through penalties. So we have a new leader, and that is Thomas. Thomas now into the lead of the race, and that is going to hurt Pedro, Kieran and Santi Martin. Thomas will be licking his lips now. He can easily get this win if he wants to win, and the skies are easily clearing up now as well. As you can see now on the banking, it's a lot brighter than it was a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, now it's up to Matthews and Julio to try and undercut the leaders, really. But it doesn't look like they'll be able to do it. They're just a little far off, I think, to be able to make an undercut work. And yeah, I mean, those drive-thrus, for all three of them, I mean, you'd think you'd take a little more care when you've undercut the leaders and you're trying to make up time.
Well,
especially in Pedro's case, because he's going to be taking those mediums a while, or he would have been.
Yeah, those mediums he probably could take to the end. It's a possibility, it isn't a guarantee, it is a possibility. But right now I've noticed on the ERS management,
Kieran
Thomas
McDonald decides to go in straight away to serve
70%, and Matthew only 40%, and that is a good idea to serve it straight away because you don't lose time. That much time, you gain time in the longer run.
So apparently this lap was the medium pit lap, but everyone on the mediums. So
yeah, interesting. Maybe, yeah, because Matthew's got a spanner on his car right now, basically saying the pit window is open. And because he is a spanner as well, a tool. But he's using the good tool at the moment, his ERS. He's now only got 35%. Locking up on the left side. Maybe his pit window very soon.
Thomas has gone up to 80% now.
Yeah, Thomas is not pushing. He's relaxing, staying calm, doing his hair, probably having a drink, you know, eating popcorn in the car. He's chilling out. Matthew,
he's very close to breaking that 1 second gap, but again, Matthew just able to keep in the DRS.
Yeah, Matthew, I think using that ERS helped him a little bit now. 29% is his lowest at the moment. But Rocco isn't that far, 2.4 seconds, and he's in the same scenario. He's only got 30%. So he's also going to have to watch out for not double stacking, because remember, the double stacking cost them in Australia for Rocco. So hopefully it don't cost him today.
In goes Matthew Older.
That's early for pit stop. That is early for those hard tyres. What's going on? Cameron Young in the pit lane.
Yeah, Matthew will be trying to undercut now.
Will Cameron hold Matthew up?
Where will he come out? Santeri's going to stay out.
Oh, he did! A little bit. Matthew was held up by a couple of, probably a millisecond.
Oh, and look at that. Look where Santeri came out. He pitted so far behind the leaders. And
that's
that
VSC
would have had him ahead of the leaders.
But look where Matthews is. He's in 6th. And he's gained a bit of time. Now, this is interesting where Matthew is. Let's have a look at the leader gap. It's around about 24 seconds. I believe in pit stop around here you need 22. So Matthew maybe starting to gain time, but he lost a bit of time in the pit lane getting held up, which could cost him, because Thomas isn't going to get held up if he pits now. He's got the earliest box and he'll be out before Rocco comes in. So it's going to be close for Matthew and Thomas again. But where do you see Rocco coming out of this, since the racing points aren't double stacking?
Well, I think behind Matthew at least. Maybe Matthews. It depends how Matthews can take his pace. That's a response to Matthew Alderden, and also Rocco Walsh going in too.
Well, let's have a look at Pedro then, because he needs to pit this slot, I believe.
Yes, Santeri has to serve his drive-through in this slot.
Yep, they're serving a drive-through. They would have been ahead of him possibly. Rocco there. He's now entering his pit box as Thomas leaves the pit lane, as we're going to stay on board with him. Will he get ahead of Matthew? Oh, what about Rocco?
It's going to be close. Thomas
Matthew's
comes
done
up,
him.
but no, Matthew is going to get right round him.
I'm very surprised at that. I really am, because I thought Matthew got held up in the pit lane, but not enough. Oh, Thomas will be annoyed.
But the situation now, though, Thomas, of course, he was really controlling that lead, but he has plenty of ERS to make this overtake.
Plenty.
Compared to Matthew, he only has about 25-30% when he brakes in corners.
That is true. So we're going to see now a little bit of a battle there for the lead, and also a battle for
Wait,
third
Cameron
place.
Young on fresh mediums? Is he legitimately P3?
Yeah, Cameron is officially P3 right now. He only has a 3-second
Jeez, I
penalty.
don't know when that
Rocco
happened.
makes a dive into Matthews there and moves into 4th place. Good driving there from Rocco, but a bit early on, I must say. Maybe he's worried that Cameron may pull away from him and he wants to catch him back up. And Thomas has played his cards right where he wants them. He's going to say thank you very much, Matthew, and see you at the next track, which will be Japan, because he's going to use all his ERS if he is smart, and he is using it. Matthew defends the inside line. Use ERS, Thomas.
Matthew using ERS, he's going to be getting a...
Thomas isn't using it. Thomas used a tiny bit of ERS.
He might not need it though as he goes around the outside. Matthew's still trying to hang in there.
Oh, please don't end in tears. Matthew coming back at him now. Thomas defends. Oh, very close. Almost to the wall.
No ERS left though.
Reminds me of Paco Suarez and me when season 5 we drove close to the wall. This is great to see into the F1 tier. Finally, someone is challenging Matthew side by side with the same compound, with the same strategy, and possible win in mind.
Well,
Matthew,
you have to remember it's not quite. Thomas does have 1 lap fresher tyres compared to Matthew as well. So he has every advantage available to him.
well, not the 3-time champion part, but yeah, I do get your point. But Matthew there is just going to have to be patient with his ERS management. A sprint pick up a 3-second time penalty, because look, he's still on 16% ERS. Matthew is in big trouble. Cameron is catching up, 1.1 seconds. Now, as I've said before,
same as
in the
Rocco
past,
Walsh as well.
you can catch up, but you
All
need
of
to overtake.
the top 4 on very similar lap old tyres. Of course, Rocco and Thomas having a small advantage. But the top 4 really are being brought closer and closer together. Of course, 2 of them racing points. They're going to be in a party together, so maybe they can discuss some sort of team strategy to try and get both of their cars in 1-2 position. They have the potential to right now. But here comes Thomas again.
He ain't using his ERS at all. Matthew just defends the inside line. Thomas is trying to go with him. Matthew's got to give him space. Keeps him space. They kept it on track. If he was off track, that would be questionable. But he keeps it within the space. Clean race in between those two. A bit of rubbing, but it is racing, and that's how you do race. You don't just shove people off the track. Rocco there sets new fast start, 32.646. So he's picking up the pace. Could challenge for the win, or at least 2nd place at the moment, where he's pushing the car. He's currently in 4th.
Yeah, and what Matthew really is doing here right now is forcing Thomas to fight more than he really has to for this win. Of course, he has the ERS advantage. He can make this move later on. But by forcing Thomas to make the move pretty much everywhere, forcing him to use his ERS, he's going to kind of wear out his ERS, and then it'll make it overall, over time, easier for Matthew to defend it.
Oh yeah, he could easily do that, of course, but I think right now Thomas is could be doing that, fighting a bit too much, but he could be saving his ERS, because he didn't use ERS at all, attempting to make that overtake on Matthew. So
a 1 second gap.
oh, he is, and Cameron though is both everyone in the top 4 has got no ERS. Thomas is just saving it, and he's keeping with them. What is going on right now? And he's got to use a little bit now. Surely he needs to realise he's losing time. He needs to make the move. No, he's not using it. Matthew is defending. Oh, will we see a switchback? Possibly. No, he brakes. Oh, possibly. Maybe brake a bit earlier. Could make the switchback work, but right now he's going to use the 2nd ERS zone and see if he can get past. No, he's a bit too far back. He's got a bit of a better exit, and maybe use a little bit of ERS, but he's got to watch out from Cameron now. Cameron's right in his tail. 2/10 here. This could easily end up in a crash here, Kevin. What do you think the possibility of these 3 possible taking each other out and letting Rocco win the race, which I would like to see?
Well, right now I think it's just about clean. They're keeping it clean anyway. But actually, Cameron Young, I was talking about clean. Cameron Young goes for a bold dive bomb on Thomas Tropes, but it's not going to be able to work out. But that will affect Thomas's line through the fast left-right, and maybe lose a little bit of time to Matthew. So it'll be a little bit more difficult to make.
Well, I'm going to say that's a little bit of injustice karma. But as you said, that dive was a bit out of nowhere. but it hasn't spun him all the way around. Good car control to keep him under control there with his return. But Thomas, you said it's affected him. He's closer to Matthew this time. He needs to get a lot more closer. He needs to be at least 2/10, which he is. And he's using his ERS. He now realises he's under threat. He's used plenty of ERS, 10% of his ERS at least. Matthew using all of his ERS right now. But it's going to not be enough. Thomas, going around the outside, brakes a bit later. Matthew does. Side by side, Matthew has to give him space, keeps it within the track limits. These two are still fighting for this position. And if I was Thomas, I'd just send it. Matthew brakes early. Tactical advantage to Matthew now, but Thomas is using his ERS. He's shown Matthew up. Matthew though is trying to come back. Will he make move turn one?
ERS, he should be able to keep this.
Matthew is really pushing now, trying to get alongside, but Thomas finally says, no, you stay behind and I am taking first, and let's just stay in this position. And that was a very good move there from Thomas, and good strategy to try and attack back from Matthew.
Only problem for Thomas Trophies now is that he's lost a lot of ERS for making that overtake, which is exactly what I said would happen. Matthew making it a little harder for Thomas than he maybe would have liked, having to use more ERS than he would have liked, which means that if Matthew saves a bit, he could be close at least to how much Thomas has now.
Yeah, that could be true, but also Thomas now could be using this as a strategy, back Matthew off into Rocco, and Rocco is in a championship fight. They may be teammates, but I heard from Rocco, he's saying he would like to fight for the championship. He's not going to show a lot of love to Matthew if he's got a chance for it. And, you know, Rocco is in third place. He has a chance to score valuable points against Matthew. And Matthew in second place. He's 7/10 off Thomas. He was like this ages ago, and he couldn't get past him. Now, he's in striking distance, so at the moment, anything could happen.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Thomas is going to be able to do what he was doing before. There's only about 15% between them though, which might be a little bit of a problem for Thomas, but it seems like the gap that Thomas has, it doesn't look like Matthew's going to be able to close back up anytime soon. So he's going to have to stick in the DRS and try to get some of his DRS back now.
Yeah, we'll say Rocco not that far now, 1.6 seconds. He's got a bit better ERS than Matthew. Actually, they're both on the same ERS management, and this is what Matthew will use. He'll stay behind, saves the ERS, but there's one flaw. Thomas saves the ERS. Thomas did it last time, made it work. I think he'll do it again. And Spreen just says...
there's only about 10% between them.
That's true. Spreen did say that. He's chilling right now on being in last place. That's why he pitted again, and he was apparently taken out in the first lap, which I believe we saw. But that is unfortunate for you there, Spreen, and hopefully you're enjoying it. At least you're not giving up. You're continuing to drive, and possible, still may get points. How about we're back to live action for the lead of the race and for third place. Right now, Rocco is trying to defend from Cameron, and Thomas is trying to pull away from Matthew. Now, gap 7.5 tenths. He needs to at least make it 9 tenths next lap round, because if he doesn't, he ain't going to get out of DRS range in enough time, because we're on lap 21 out of 28. Soon we'll be on lap 22 out of 28, and Matthew could be back in striking distance.
Well, it looks like the fight that we should be looking at though. Cameron Young right down the inside, a lot more straight line speed down the inside, a little bit of lock-up from both maybe, and Cameron Young makes an easy move there down the inside of Rocco Walsh back up into third place.
That's true, but it could have just destroyed his ERS. He isn't going to get third the way he's playing at the moment. He needs to pray that Rocco picks up a penalty if he wants a chance for third place. But Rocco is trying to come back at him. And Matthew now, 6 tenths off Thomas. So, has he just made a mistake, Matthew? Or is he now starting to catch back up? Because he should be a lot closer at least. Unless he only gained a tenth from the straight, which would be bizarre. We see another fight for fifth place.
Julio
both
and
Alphas.
Matthews are very
I was
close.
going to say, yeah. Matthews and Julio, both Alpha drivers, really fighting it out for P5. And right now it looks like the Renault would like that position.
Yeah, over time he has been closing up. There's also Nicholas not too far off them either. If they were to fight a little bit, maybe it could become a 3 or potentially 4-way fight if Pedro can close up. So there is fights to be looking at right now.
There is, and as I said...
Actually, there's Spreen. Spreen said he was having a nice time. He's going to get lapped soon, it looks like.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. But as I said, Thomas needs to build up a second. Right now, he has 9 tenths. Over half, 9.5 tenths. I said he needed 9 tenths last lap. and he's done it. He's basically said what I wanted him to do, and he's now starting to pull away. Now he's going to get caught up again.
They
But
almost have the
hurt
same ERS now. There's only like 5% between them. They may as well have the same amount.
It isn't working. Cameron now 1.8 seconds off these two and has lost time. Rocco is not doing what he needs to do, save his ERS. He needs to save a lot more. We'll look at penalties at the moment. Penalties we have then, coming on 3-second time penalty. Tiger or Nicholas in 7th place, also 3 seconds. Same with Amadi, which is Kieran, and Spreen also in 12th place, all have 3-second penalties. And the fastest lap at the moment goes to Rocco Walsh with 32.646. Literally 100 faster than Cameron Young right now, and 2/10 faster than Thomas, and 4/10 faster than Matthew, as D Spreen actually let him through.
Wait,
so
what?
Matthew,
No, not Centauri. Right, yeah, Spreen.
yeah, I was going to say, wrong driver. He's in the AlphaTauri, but right now I've just noticed Matthew is 4/10 off his fastest lap. Off the fastest lap right now. That isn't like Matthew. Usually he gets the fastest lap, he nails it, and he's nailing it today because currently he's in 2nd place, not going to get the 26 points which he usually gets. At the moment, the match
He has
probably going to
improved
get
on
his 18.
his second sector just a little bit there.
And he's
So
got
he's
43%. He's got more ERS than Thomas right now. He could be doing this on the last lap, maybe a last lap overtake, possibly from Matthew Older.
Yeah, we'll see how the ERS works out, but the flip is happening now. What happened to Thomas earlier, you can kind of see if Matthew wants to make an overtake, since they're still quite similar on ERS. If Matthew tries to make an overtake, Thomas can just not use any of his ERS, and then all of a sudden Matthew's used all of his, and if he's not successful the first time round, which it seems pretty easy to defend into the hairpin if you can stay just enough ahead and cover the inside like Matthew did to Thomas earlier. If Matthew fails his first overtaking opportunities, then he might not ever get another one. Because remember, Thomas, when he made his overtake, he had plenty more ERS, and now he's less than him. So if they're equal...
Yeah, could be, as I said, could be a possibility. But Matthew doing what he needs to do, you know. He's got 10% more ERS now. He's now started to close back up 6/10. So has Thomas worn out his tyres already before Matthew? Matthew's is a lap later on. Could be interesting. As the gap between him and Cameron Matthew is 2 seconds. So, and Rocco's now dropped off 7.5 tenths from Cameron now, and the gap between Rocco and Matthews is 8.1 seconds. So,
yeah, speaking of the fight for 5th, the 3 drivers now of Matthew, Julio and Nicholas are now in DRS of each other.
well, and Pedro as well.
And Pedro's all... Yeah, Pedro just got in as well.
But we'll say about Matthew Order right now because he is really close. 3 tenths. Lap 25 now out of 28. Will Matthew make the move? He's going for it. He's going on the inside. He's making the move. Is that too early? Thomas can now save his ERS, chill out for a bit, and may make the move later on. Or, as Matthew played the strategy correct...
Doesn't look like Matthew had to use much ERS for that overtake though, because he still... Actually no, he doesn't have more, but only just though. They're pretty much identical again.
Yeah, I believe Thomas did use a little bit of his ERS, like a tiny bit. So probably like 3%. But he's staying with him. He hasn't dropped off that much, but he can't drop off too much, because if he does, then we know then his tyres are starting to not work. And Matthew then is a guaranteed winner at China. As we have yellows in Sector 2. Now I believe that's Spreen.
That's Spreen.
Through. Yes it is, because that's the only house we have left. But we have another interesting fight, as you said, for 5th. Julio, Nicholas and Pedro. So both Renaults looking strong for points, 6th and 8th right now.
Yeah, on the last lap, Julio got really close to the back end of Matthews as well, breaking into the hairpin. Almost hit the gearbox. He, I guess, didn't expect Matthews to be braking as much as he did. Only 2 laps between their tyres, so the braking zone shouldn't be that different. So we could be seeing Julio maybe go for a late move into the hairpin. And here he comes, by the way. He's a lot quicker, it seems.
Yeah, but he ain't got that ERS advantage. Only 8%. He's nowhere near to make a dive. and he doesn't send it, you know, so he's being smart, but he has to watch out, as you've said. Nicholas Pedro is right on the tail. Thomas is staying with Matthew though, 2 and a bit tenths. There's one lap 26 out of 28 now. Only a couple laps left of this race. No overtake yet from Julio.
Thomas not using any overtake right now, so looks like he's going to be waiting for the last lap to make this move.
Possibly, or possibly the penultimate lap.
Gets very close to the back of Matthew Olin. Neither of them actually used overtake on that previous straight, so it looks like they're kind of keeping it equal right now.
Yeah, they're both roughly got actually the same. It's going to be interesting. They're on the penultimate lap of this race now. We're going to stay on board with this fight because I don't see Julio making a move yet. He ain't got enough ERS, so we're going to see it. As right now then, Thomas now 4 tenths. He's plus almost 3 tenths off his PB, which could be concerning for him. As Santiago Marquez has passed Brandon Glover for 9th place. Moving into 9th as Brandon then has lost the position. Now he drops to 10th place on the grid. So Kieran peels into the pits for soft tyres. He's looking for the fastest lap. So Rocco's fastest point could be taken away. He needs to beat 32.6, which I believe is the fastest lap. It is. The 32.6 is the fastest lap right now. Thomas though, 5 tenths now. I don't know what he's going to do. He needs to catch back up because he's losing time. Oh, Jesus Christ. You're right, he does catch a lot on the braking zone. Yellows in sector 3, that's Kieran, Spring again. I keep getting those two mixed up.
Julio's going for a move on Matthews down the inside of the hairpin. Doesn't look like any lockups from either, and he's going to be able to squeeze him out on the exit and make it quite an easy move in the end to put himself up into 5th.
He's got it there, and Thomas, now look at him, he's hungry, he knows he wants first place. Let's have a look how much time Matthew is off
Matthews
his PB.
is actually coming back at Julio in turn 1.
Oh, look at those fights.
They're side by side now.
On the outside, has he got him? And yes, he has. He's got him, but he hasn't finished him. He's going to do the switchback. Gap 5 tenths between the leaders. And he can't make it work right now. However, we're going to go on board with the front 2. Thomas now using a bit more ERS. Matthew using a bit of ERS now. This could be intense for the top 2. They could crash, they could ruin each other's race. And Rocco could still get his first win. Or second, and Cameron could win somehow. But here comes Thomas. He wants first place, and I think he could have it. Matthew Older versus Thomas on the final lap. Final chance he has. He needs to use it all. He needs to use all the skill he has.
Closing DRS, doing wonders for him right now. They're going to be side by side. Going into the hairpin. He's going to get squeezed out once again. Thomas is able to keep it there side by side. Going into the final corner, Matthew has a little bit of an advantage.
Oh no, Matthew's
going to be able to go around the outside.
Matthew takes the win. Thomas takes second. Cameron will be happy with 4th, could have been 3rd. Rocco takes 3rd then. And I've got to say that was interesting tactic there for Thomas to try and make that work. But Matthew, good defending driving, nothing wrong with that, clean racing. And Matthews takes 5th, Julio 6th, Pedro 7th. Nicholas drops to 8th then on the line. Santi Marquin has destroyed Bran altogether and has gone into 9th place. With Brandon in 10th, Kieran will be rounding up the grid in 11th, but will he take fastest lap? He's currently almost 2 seconds up on his PB. His PB is currently a 1:33.930, so I'm expecting a 1:31.9 at the moment, apparently, if he's almost 2 seconds up on his time. But, yeah, it should be a 1:31.9. Here he comes then. And it's a 1:30.9. He improved by 3 seconds there. Good lap for Kieran. It's a shame his race didn't go to plan with that drive through, and here comes Spreen then. He finishes off the grid into 12th place, having a bit of a jolly in the race, and the last didn't give up, and I've got to give him respect. 12th place, we'll be happy with that for him, and hopefully he can do well in the next race. The drive there is Rocco Walsh, which I have to agree, but I also have to give Cameron a bit of a shout there for coming back on his return. Here is the top 3 then. Matthew Alder takes the win. He said he probably couldn't get the win on the last podium interviews, but he takes it. Another win for Matthew under his belt and more closer to the 4th title. With Thomas close in 2nd, with Rocco Welch happy in 3rd, and Racing Point are doing wonders in the constructors right now, and they could easily win it in the next coming rounds. So, as we look at the celebration, the champagne going all over, here are the official results. Matthew Orderland takes the win with Thomas in 2nd, Rocco in 3rd, Cameron Young in 4th, Matthews in 5th, Julio 6th, Pedro 7th, Nicholas 8th, Santiago Marquin in 9th, Brandon in 10th, Kieran 11th, Spreen in 12th. That is all our finishes today. Logan, who crashed out on the banking quite earlier on about lap 13 I believe, and unfortunately was 13th in the race, DNF'd in 13th. Lewis Curtis, who also DNF'd in 14th, I can't remember if he gave up or not. I know Patrick Nolly did, 15th and 16th. They just couldn't be bothered.
Lewis did.
They did, right. That's unfortunate.
No, actually, no. Lewis was the one he potentially crashed at the exit of the final corner. So actually,
oh yeah, he crashed the
no.
VSC. Yeah, my bad. Well then, that's your official results. And could you Could you invite the top 3 for me? Thank you very much. Because I would, but Matthew either appears offline or I just can't find him. Actually, I want to see how many warnings Matthew had. 1 warning only.
Yeah, I looked at the end. Thomas had 2, so he wasn't able to really take as many risks either.
I don't want to wait for Kevin to invite the top 3. We'll just wait.
There we go.
Alright, just give me a second. We do have the race winner, Mr. Blizzard. We will start off with you very shortly. Just give me... Yeah, that's the trouble who I'm sorting out right now. And, yeah, just give me a couple of seconds. And here's his invite. I'm guessing Thomas isn't going to join?
I don't know.
Was he in the party with you?
Yeah, he...
Oh, we have 4 guys now. Awesome. Well, we're going to have 4 people in today. Well then, we will start off with the winner. 3-time champion, Mr. Blizzard. Well then, Matthew. Oh, yeah, and that. And how do you think your race went today? Getting the win, of course, and apparently Kevin heard you on the last interview, said you probably couldn't get the win here, but you've got the win, and how does it feel?
Good. I mean, Cameron was racing today, and I thought Cameron would probably win, but he spun twice. And Thomas, I thought would be very good as well. So yeah, it was probably the hardest win for me.
Okay then. We did also notice actually through the race, Thomas was actually very good on his ERS saving. We noticed you were at around about 30% when he was on 80. Were you having issues, even though you were behind him at one point, struggling to save ERS, or was that just a tactic to make him push a bit more, make him wear the tyre wear to let the others have Rocco or Cameron to catch up?
No, it's just because it was very hard to keep up with him is when you went for the double left and then the long right. I could hardly keep up with him round those long corners compared to him. He was able to stick really close to me and then I just couldn't do the same, so sometimes if I made a mistake around one of them I would just have to use some of it.
Okay then. Also, another win of today as well, so you get 25 points, not 26. You just need to get the fastest lap. And that's more points now away from Rocco you've now pulled away from. Do you feel now Rocco's not really a threat anymore for the championship fight? Do you think you've got your 4th title?
Yes, I mean, I think it was very clear after like 4 races, so...
After round 1.
Well, because you've got to feel sorry for Rocco. He has tried his best. Maybe we might change stipulation, give Rocco bonus 100 points. But all jokes aside, I haven't really got any more questions except the last question. Kevin, have you got any questions for Matthew?
No.
Right then, I believe it is Japan next week. How do you feel you're going to be doing there? Do you think you can get another win and keep outscoring Rocco and start thinking about a new teammate?
Wow.
I'll see how it is.
Nice. Not very nice.
Japan is definitely a better track for me, so I hope I win there. And given like my main competition are both pad drivers, that definitely helps me as well.
Well then, that's good to hear you're hoping for a good result. And hopefully we can see you on the podium again, which I highly will, 99% chance will happen. But good result again, and good to be back. Commentating, seeing you win the first round back. Well then, Kevin, if you want to interview the 2nd place driver, Thomas.
So, Thomas, do we have you?
Yeah.
Okay, there. Obviously, you missed out on the win today. You were side by side for it right up until the last corner, but just slipped out of your grasp. But I'm sure you're happy with the pace that you showed today and overall how you were able to manage that race win. Are you annoyed that you didn't get it in the end?
Yeah, I should have broke a lot later for the final corner. Yeah, that's the only thing that I'd say I should have done. Should have just broke so much later into that final corner, gave him way too much room.
Yeah, and also, of course, your ERS management through the race up until Matthew undercut you was spectacular, really, compared to everyone else. But once you drop behind Matthew, you seem to use maybe a little more than you should have. Do you think you could have used a little less to get past him, or do you think no?
I just wanted to get ahead, so that's the only thing I wanted. I wanted to lead and going into the final lap, which I didn't. So that's the only thing I would say regarding that.
Well, then, just a little unfortunate then, I guess. As Jared said, next week is Japan, though. Do you think you could maybe take your winner on there? Do you think your pace is good enough, or...?
No.
Oh, that's a straight answer then. So yeah, congratulations
just to repeat
on
that,
no. Well, congratulations on the P2 anyway, and good luck for next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we just got, in future we just need Thomas in interviews, that's just made my day. Well then, well, hopefully you have a good result next week round, Thomas. But now we will move to the 3rd place driver. Is it Cameron? No, it's Rocco. It's Rocco Walsh. Well then, Rocco.
Wow.
Well, good result for 3rd place. Were you actually expecting that position? Because you qualified, I believe, 6th, in the end, or 8th, something like that. A bit lower down than I expected you to be. But you got 3rd place. Are you happy with the result you got?
Yeah, I mean, quality didn't go well because I was struggling to get sort of like power on some corners, so I was actually planning on doing hard to medium anyway, even if it didn't rain. So I think it was probably actually a better situation for me to get 8th place. But normal, then most of the race I was pretty much just stuck behind Cameron, pretty much just pulling me along. And I believe pretty much all the medium runners got drive-throughs, so yeah, that made it a bit more simple. So I think 3rd is probably the best I could have done.
Well, yeah, that is true. The medium guys did get drive-throughs, and that was a shame. One of them actually crashed on the banking. I believe he got a puncture. But when you were battling with Cameron, did you think you could catch up with Matthew and Thomas when they were battling, or was that just completely out of the question, and probably Cameron was the closest possibility of it happening?
At one point I was like 1.2 behind Matthew, and then the straight was there, then they'd pull like about 3-4 tenths, so it was Cameron's spinning did not, I wouldn't say not help, but it just was actually a bit unfortunate, if that actually makes sense. But yeah, they were a bit too quick, I think, Cameron and Thomas, or sorry, Matthew and Thomas, and Cameron.
Well, I've got to say, all of yous were quick today, and it's also a shame for the medium runners as well, because it would have been actually a bigger battle, I think, in the long run, but it was a good race to see from both point of views. But I will say then, the last question, which is Japan next week, how do you feel you're going to do there, and do you think you could get another podium result and may have a chance against Matthew, or do you think the closest benchmark was Baku?
Probably Baku was my closest chance. Japan I'm actually quite decent at, but it's Matthew, so he's going to be bolted by lap 1, so I think I've just got to keep aiming for podiums again, and that's probably where my expectation is, probably like 3rd place for Japan, so yeah.
Well then, congratulations again on 3rd place, and hopefully we see you on the podium again, and hopefully you can finally beat Matthew, but anything, as I said, can happen. We could have Logan winning a race, you never know. Well then, Kevin, you can interview Cameron Young on his return back to the top tier after he had a couple of weeks off. If you want to interview him now.
Oh, yeah, I mean the interviews has gone on a little long, so I'll try and keep it short. But yeah, Cameron, obviously before the pit stops it maybe wasn't looking like it, but with the drive-throughs of some of the medium runners, it kind of promoted you to a potential podium spot, and lost out because of Penn. Do you think maybe you could have been a bit more consistent and got it without the Penn, or do you think it was out of the question getting forced?
I mean, if I didn't spin for 2 times, I probably would have had the win. I lost 8 seconds. Just outrageous stuff. The setup I used didn't have the feeling. Coming back to F1, I think just the nerves of Matthew Alder and Thomas Farmer. I can't remember his last name, but Thomas. They just
Don't mention it. It's fine. Leave it as is.
Just the pressure. Like I thought, I really could have won, and then going into quali was wet. So then, yeah, it just didn't help from there.
Well, a little unfortunate maybe for you then. Did you think a podium was possible before the pit stops, or did you think maybe not?
Maybe it was possible, depending on, because me and Matthew pitted quite early, but we knew the mediums were going to make it to the end. So we caught quite a lot, and then I ended up catching back up to Matthew and Thomas before they spun. So if I got in front of both of them, maybe a podium was possible, but after that, no, nothing.
And then leads on to next week at Japan. How do you think you'll go around there?
Oh, brilliantly. Really do, no doubt. Maybe first. We'll see.
Maybe a bit of competition for Matthew then. So yeah, congratulations on a fourth. Yeah, congratulations on a fourth, and good luck for next week.
I've got to dive down your inside turn 1.
Well then, There's a lot of rivalry between Cameron and Matthew, and it's good to have that. Well then, thank you for the top 4 for podium interviews and 4th place interview. Hopefully you can have a good result next week. Well then,
Podium interviews, man.
we're going to close down the stream now. I've been your commentator IRL Neon. I've been joined by Mr. Aspect, or as Kevin Harrison. If you guys want to see some more IRL content, join us for F2 and F3 tomorrow for 4:30 UK time. But if you just want to see F1 content, join us Saturday next week at 6 o'clock, where Matthew is going to get dived around the inside by Mr. Cameron Young. Until then, guys, see you guys next time. Goodbye.